We're talking to the Chancellor of the Tennessee Board of Regents, Dr. Charles Manning, and the issue is the Board of Regents 2009 and some of the challenges and opportunities that are now available. And of course, Dr. Manning, let's allow you to continue our conversation.
Sure, and I'm expressing my personal opinion, but I think there's been a lot of people with it that we're gonna need more skills and education to be competitive in our world markets, and we've got to figure out ways to raise them. And one of the interesting things in Tennessee is if you think about workforce as a pyramid in terms of how much education and skills you have to do the job. You don't have as many doctors as you do plumbers, so sometimes it's harder to find a plumber than it is a doctor. and it's shaped like this, but the public system of higher education in the state is upside down pyramid. There are about 120,000 students between UT and ourselves in universities, 80,000 in community colleges, and 30,000 or so in the technology centers. So if you believe what I do, then a community really needs to think about advancing their workforce as a part of the essential infrastructure, just like waters and sewer and transportation, communication.
It is a part, yes, it is.
It needs to be a part of that. And I'll tell you what some communities are doing, and I think that it's very interesting that they are actually using city money or county money to help support students who graduate from the high school in their community to go to the community college in that region, or the tech centers in some cases.
And bring that skill back to them, is that?
And, if you think about that middle third of students, they sometimes don't start college, or if they do, they don't finish, and we're trying to get them all the way through. The reality is, 40 years from now, they're much more likely to be sitting right in that same community than the top of the class. They're likely to go somewhere else. So it's a very good investment to try to build that infrastructure and the skills of those in the community, and they're more than likely to stay there. So places like Sullivan County and East Tennessee and Dyersburg and West Tennessee, they are doing that, and I think it's going to be necessary because the tuition's going to keep going up some. And we spoke of the lottery before. That's a big help to those students who get it. But if you go back to that middle third, they're more than likely not to. Adults, we've opened it up so it's possible now to get it, but still, if you look at the percentages,
it's still not promised to adults. Is that
not very many are getting it yet. Now, I have to mention that these technology centers, where you could learn machining or driving a truck, they have what's called Wilder Navy scholarship. That's out of the that's out of the lottery money. But you don't have to meet certain. You don't have to have a GPA of a particular level to be able to get that. So you can start there.
So there's a lottery in technology in a real sense. Is that what?
Without. I mean, you have to graduate from high school, but it doesn't say you have to have B average, or you have to have a 19 on your ACT tests, or any of that. You don't have to have that, and it is available.
Which is another opportunity for those who are so inclined toward that area to recognize that there is this training, and that this training can be paid for by the state. Is that?
Yes. Yeah, and you think about being fully licensed as an auto mechanic. You can be in the $40,000 to $50,000 range, and if you do well at it, be twice that in not too much time. So it's in terms of getting your life going. One other thing I'd mention from a student's perspective and a family's perspective, and I'll use nursing as an example. That's a great field to be in. You can virtually be anywhere in the United States. You can get a job.
I've got two sisters involved in that.
Yeah, but it costs money to do all this thing. But here's a track that a student can take. They can go to one of these technology centers and get an LPN, a licensed practical nurse certificate, and go to work, earn money. We have worked in the Board of Regents to make the transition for those students easy, well-defined. I mean, you still have to work. Nursing's hard, but in
come
terms
into
of,
an academic.
Right, but the transition, not filled with all sorts of bureaucracy, and then you can get your associate RN. And you can keep on going, and in fact, on the Regents online degree now, you can get a master's in nursing. Clinical work needs to be done, locally, but you can actually do that while you're employed in a hospital that's not anywhere near an institution that has a master's in nursing. So you can transition, get yourself on a paycheck, and move on up over time, and that's just that's a fantastic way.
Do you find that many people are taking advantage of that? Or do they know about it? You see, I think.
Well, I think in nursing they do in particular. Frankly, one of the problems in something like machining, at least when the economy was a little better, is they end up getting a job before they finish, and if they welding's a great example.
Good. Okay.
You don't finish the whole program, you don't know everything, but he's willing to start paying me, $18, $20 an hour, I'm going to go over there.
Okay, very good. And that makes sense. Yeah, very good, I think. Very good. But there are many opportunities for individuals. In spite of the bad economy and in spite of the cutbacks and et cetera, that an individual still can make it in higher education.
And my advice is, don't over-constrain yourself. If you have to say you have to live on the north side of Nashville, period, then it's hard to get a job. If you're willing to move out further, then you have more opportunities to do that. Frankly, one of the places in East Tennessee, at least a half a year ago, they were still bringing people in from other states because they couldn't find enough people there locally. So you need to be a little flexible as you get started, and then work on getting back to Nashville after you get that job.
And so in a real sense, Chancellor, over the last 3 minutes that we have here, we can say that the state of Tennessee in its collegiate operations, primarily universities and community colleges and technical institutes, the state is making real strides in terms of trying to bring education to the majority of people.
I want to say we're having to suck it up.
Okay, okay.
we're being cut, pretty severely. We will have some tuition increases, but it won't cover all that we're covering. And so you think of that purchasing power per student. It's going to go down some.
But we've got the framework. And of course, I don't think that we should be in a recession, depression, and et cetera forever. But if we've got the framework, and when money does start to flow into the state of Tennessee, then you think we're ready to deal with it.
And we're absolutely keeping our doors open. We're eager to accept students, bring them in, give them a chance. This is a good time to do that if you're having trouble getting a job or have been laid off for one reason or another.
You know, I was impressed. I had an earlier show dealing with the Tennessee Department of Education and Literacy, and I was impressed with what they're doing over in that area in terms of trying to increase the literacy of the people in the state of Tennessee. And it seems that they've got a large number of innovative programs that they're using in order to try to do that.
You know, that's another interesting thing in terms of use of technology and computers. One of the things that they've found that people are more comfortable learning on a computer than they are in public, if you will, with peers around them, because they can do it privately.
Especially in such a delicate area as to whether or not you can read, you see.
Exactly. And so you can do that very privately and make real progress. And that's another way that technology is really helping.
And so the state of Tennessee is really on the move. You think that we'll be able to move up from the bottom 1/4 to the top? I know I understand that there are historical reasons that we're there, and et cetera, but still we have to move.
We do. The challenges that we have is that everybody else is moving, and the challenges the U.S. has is that the world is moving. And so just because you made some progress doesn't mean it's more than what your neighbor has made.
That's a good thought. That's a good thought, because I think that in terms of where we've been in the state of Tennessee with the literacy and a number of other things that we've always been down, but the other individual states that are also down are perhaps making a little more progress.
So we're making good progress, but we shouldn't rest on our laurels.
We're doing better than we've ever done before. During this last couple of half-second minutes that we have, we're doing better than we've ever done before, but we still can do better. And when things improve, we will also improve. And I certainly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And let me thank you, Chancellor, for coming by and giving us that excellent information. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.